Hello and welcome here to Talk FCB and welcome back here to the channel, guys, as we build up still to Chelsea against Barcelona. It is getting very close now. The game coming tomorrow and we are here today with a tactical preview. I've got the match preview as well coming up later today. It's all going on and we are getting very excited now for this Champions League clash. But in this video, guys, we're going to be looking at the tactical aspect of this game, what Chelsea are likely to do, what Barcelona are going to do. We're going to be looking at the lineups, the likely lineups from these two teams. What sort of formation is Conte going to go with? How is Valverde going to counter that? And how are we going to get at Chelsea? And also looking at the potential problems that they could cause us on the break and what we're going to do to prevent that. So all of that and more coming up in today's tactical preview. It's Chelsea against Barca. So the first thing that I want to do in this video, guys, is look at Chelsea's potential lineup and also their potential formation. And there's two different variations that Antonio Conte could go with in this game, either the 3-5-2 or the 3-4-3. And I'm going to start here by looking at the 3-5-2 formation, which despite what it sounds like, it is actually an extremely defensive structure. If Conte goes with this, it's very defensive indeed. It's basically a 5-3-1-1 formation in some ways, as we can see here highlighted in what could be tomorrow Chelsea's expected starting lineup. It's either going to be Cahill or Rudiger. It's either going to be Moses or Zappacosta, but that's basically what Chelsea are going to line up with tomorrow if they go with this 3-5-2 formation. You can see here three centre-backs, Alonso and Moses. We spoke about it yesterday. They're going to be a 5. They're going to drop back. They're not going to be wing-backs. They are 100% going to be full-backs in this game. And if they go with this formation, you can see there, they're basically crowding their own half of the pitch. This formation would tell us that Antonio Conte plans on sitting extremely deep, which we did expect, and trying to shut down every inch of space in and around the danger areas, around their own box, inside the area, around the centre of the pitch in the final third. That's exactly really what we don't want Chelsea to do. We need that space. We thrive on that space, and that's what we want to try and exploit. But Chelsea here, with this formation, they're cramming everything they possibly can into their own half. And then obviously, as you can see here in the middle area of the pitch, they've added a midfield. They've got 3 in there with this specific formation. You take out a Willian or a Pedro, the extra winger in the front 3, and you basically put somebody in midfield. So I think the trio, if he goes with 3 in midfield, is going to be Kante, Fabregas and Drinkwater, and then you've got Hazard and Morata headed. But those 3 in midfield are basically going to be to counteract the likes of Rakitic, Busquets, Iniesta. Either Paulinho or Gomez is going to play on the right hand side, and I think one of those midfielders is probably going to try and press Sergio Busquets whenever he gets the ball. Maybe it'll be Kante. Maybe we'll finally see Kante versus Busquets and completely end those debates, let me tell you now. But obviously, when you're talking about Busquets, you usually need more than one player to stop him, and I don't know whether Conte is going to commit that many men in midfield to go out and stop Busquets. I think the wing-backs in this formation are very key because they're obviously going to operate as full-backs primarily, but they are going to spend most of the game in their own half. But when they can get out, they will. And I think if you do play this formation without any proper wingers in Morata and then Hazard behind you, we don't really have any width there. So the wing-backs for Chelsea are going to operate mostly in their own half, but when they get their chance to break, they are going to give Chelsea that width. They're going to be their only source of natural width in this game and give them some pace on a counter. So a lot is going to go through Alonso, a lot is going to go through Moses, maybe Zappacosta will play, but the wing-backs are going to be really key for Chelsea, and that's what we're going to come on to with Valverde. The key is stopping them. And then that leads us to the 2 sole attacking players for Chelsea, Hazard and Morata, which for me, if you only select these 2 instead of the 3 that we mentioned yesterday, perhaps a Willian or a Pedro with them, it would make me feel a lot better lining up against just Hazard and Morata. I think Piqué and Umtiti would easily be able to double up on Morata, stop him quite easily, those 2 on their own. And then you've got Hazard, who I think needs to be marshalled by the midfield, by Rakitic covering with Roberto, and I think you can put several players as well to try and stop Eden Hazard and try and crowd him out, because only those 2 in the attack really gives us a numerical advantage. We can outnumber them, we can make sure that we're stopping the ball getting to them. You can put 1 tight and then 1 can drop off. It gives us a lot of options not to have 3 but to only have 2 to mark. And this also tells us, I think, if Conte goes with this, he has no intention of pressing us from the front, simply because Chelsea wouldn't have the numbers. They wouldn't have a Willian or a Pedro who is going to be charging round, giving them energy, trying to press us on the front foot. Hazard and Morata simply won't do that. As a 2, they would be easily outnumbered, and I don't see anybody from that midfield rushing out and leaving their position to go and press us when we're trying to play at the back. Again, we could outnumber them, and Conte really doesn't want to leave any spaces. He won't want players leaving their positions, because that's the point of this formation. Take out any space that we can get and make sure that he's so disciplined and so deep and structured. However, as we did mention yesterday, there is definitely a possibility that Conte could go for a slightly more adventurous formation, a 3-4-3, which once again will be pretty much like a 5-2-3. You'll have the 5 defenders, all the wing-backs tucking in, but then you only have the 2 in midfield, and then you have 3 more attack-minded players. But I'm saying this simply because Conte, in his pre-match comments, he told reporters Barca are a fantastic team when they've got the ball, but they can have weaknesses without it, and we must try to exploit those weaknesses. Now, those words from Conte make me feel maybe he's going to put more attack-minded players on the pitch to try and go for us a little bit more. Maybe Willian or Pedro, just to get in our faces, give them an extra option on the counter, give them a bit of pace, a bit of an outlet when they're under severe pressure. A player like that can get you out of danger. But it does look, however, like Chelsea might not go with this simply because that midfield. 2 in the midfield, I spoke about it yesterday. If they go with that, Kante and Drinkwater, you can get at that, no doubt about it. I would seriously fancy our chances a lot more in creating chances with those 2 in midfield for Chelsea. So I think overall, Chelsea probably more likely to go with the reserve 2 attackers, Hazard and Morata playing up there all on their own, then surrounded by players who are going to be defensive minded. Yes, Fabregas can pick a pass here and there, but I think it's a lot more likely tomorrow that we do see that defensive side of Conte. Maybe he'll branch out, maybe a bit more adventurous, try to shock us even with this 3-4-3 formation, but I'm just not quite sure. A lot of Chelsea fans believing that Chelsea are going to start this game as cautious as possible and try to get bodies in their own half. But of course, while we're very interested in what Chelsea are going to do in tomorrow's game, we're very interested to know how they're going to set up and how we can counter that. It is absolutely vital that we focus solely on our own game, because we know in our own minds we've got the players, we've got the tactics, we've got the coach. If we play our game tomorrow, if we play to our strengths, provide chances and solutions for Messi and Suarez, we can win this game. Absolutely, no doubt about that. And I think we're very much aware going into a big game, a game like this, the surrounding, the situation, I think we all know what Valverde is going to do. He's going to play a 4-4-2 formation. We know that. We've seen it in big games. Not quite the traditional English 4-4-2, but some of the concepts from that formation do remain with Valverde. For instance, this is a pretty safe formation. By all accounts, is not taking any risks in an away tie in the Champions League, a tough environment, a very tough stadium to visit. Valverde taking absolutely no risks. 4 midfielders, 4 defenders, and Messi and Suarez to do the damage up front. And this is Valverde's tried and tested methods in big away games. We've seen the same setup away at Valencia, away at Sociedad, Atletico, Real Madrid, and on the whole, it's worked very, very successfully. We've been very well drilled, very structured. In the second half of those games, we've gone out there, we've shown control on the ball, and that's everything we need to do when we face Chelsea at Stamford Bridge. You can see here, of course, we've got our usual back 4. Alba and Roberto will be pushing on in this game whenever they can, which for me is absolutely vital. Alba and Roberto are really key cogs in this formation, simply because the fullbacks are going to provide us with most of our genuine width. You've got Gomez or Paulinho, who's going to be playing on the right, Iniesta likely out on the left. None of those players are traditional wingers. It's not going to be like a Dembele on the right. We're going to have players who are playing out there, but who are naturally more gifted in the centre of the pitch. So Alba and Roberto are going to be giving us all our width in this game, and that's where Chelsea might afford us some space. It's vital that Roberto and Alba get forward to stretch Chelsea, to really stretch the pitch, to try and give us some space in the middle as well. And it's really important they do that to limit Chelsea's wing-backs. And what I mean by that is, I spoke earlier about Chelsea's wing-backs giving them their own width. That's also the case. So full-backs in this game are going to be really important. I want to see Moses, Zappacosta and Alonso running back to their own goal instead of running towards ours. Make sure that we're forcing them back inside their own half, making them uncomfortable. These are wing-backs that would much rather be on the offensive. We need to make sure they're facing their own goal. Pen them back inside their own half and make sure they can't get out. Simple as that from Alba and Roberto. And when they do that, we have to see the combinations. And I'm talking about Iniesta and Alba, who do it sensationally down the left-hand side. Alba will overlap. Alba will do some dummy runs, Iniesta will find him. Those two combine brilliantly on the left-hand side. Keep asking Chelsea those questions. Do it as often as you possibly can. And the same down the right. Roberto is going to be down that right-hand left-hand side, whether it's Paulinho or Andre Gomez, they've got to try and get some space to Roberto. They've got to make a run inside. They've got to make a run beyond. They've got to go on the overlap. They've got to try and do whatever they can to create space for Roberto to run into, because that's really key in breaking down Chelsea. And then there's Sergio Busquets, which for me could be one of the big players who wins or loses this game for us, simply because if he can get enough time and space on the ball in this game, he could be the one man who could pick the Chelsea block apart. He could actually try to unlock that door, which Chelsea are going to try to stop every single ball and every inch of space going into that central area where Messi will be. But if anyone can unlock it, Sergio Busquets can. And alongside him, Rakitic's job is really crucial as well. He has to offer solutions going forward and also going backwards as well. He's got to make some well-timed forward runs to try and open up space for Messi, because everything in this team revolves around trying to create space for Messi and Suarez to work their magic, because Chelsea are going to be doing everything to prevent that, and runs have got to be made. You've got to be constantly on the move. You've got to be aware of where your positioning is supposed to be. And when we're defending as well, Rakitic will need to be switched on. Sergio Roberto will need cover, and Rakitic and Paulinho or Gomez will need to provide that, especially when Marcos Alonso is coming forward and going on the overlap, potentially on that left-hand side for Chelsea with Eden Hazard. And exactly the same needs to happen with Jordi Alba. Iniesta will need to get back, and he'll need to cover for him when he needs to. And as with all games of this magnitude, this is well and truly right now a team game. We need every single player there in a Barcelona shirt pulling together as one unit, and that leads us onto Messi and Suarez. They are the match winners for us in this game. Suarez has got to be consistently on the shoulder of those three Chelsea defenders. He's got to try and stretch them, push them back as much as possible, work every single one of them. He's going to be an absolute menace in this game for Chelsea, and that's exactly why Suarez is just the man for the job. He will know how to press Chelsea's buttons. He will know how to work these defenders, how to distract them, how to really give them a difficult time, all the while creating space for Lionel Messi to work his magic. Everything is in place in this game, finally at last. This could be the game that Messi finally strikes against Chelsea, and even if he doesn't get his goal in this game, there's a very big chance that if we do the right things, if we open up that space, there's a very big chance he could be the one creating that killer blow. And there were a lot of rumours in the lead up to this game about Antonio Conte man-marking Messi. You saw it with Girona, Pablo Maffeo man-marked Messi, and it worked very, very well indeed. But I think that's very, very unlikely in this game. Conte told reporters before the game, we'll work as a team to stop Messi and Barcelona in general. But if we focus just on marking Messi, it can be very, very dangerous for us. So I don't think Conte is going to go solely and put a man on Messi, because I think Conte knows you put one man on Messi, if Messi's in the mood, he will evade him. And I think that Chelsea here don't have a plan to stop Messi. There's a lot of talk about they've got a plan, they've got a formula. A lot of games have gone by. Messi's been very close to a goal. He's been unlucky more than anything. Messi will be absolutely determined to stop that on the night, and that fills me with confidence. When we've got a determined Messi, somebody who we've seen maybe having a bit of a rest in the last few weeks, everything builds up to this game. It is all coming to a crescendo, and that fills me with enormous hope and expectation. One lapse in concentration, one mistake from Chelsea, one little slip, and Messi could finally get the chance to end years of hurt against Chelsea. Stand by for Lionel Messi. Watch this space. And that is basically where we stand on Chelsea against Barca in the Champions League. It will be a head-to-head clash of heavyweights, of tactical nous. It's going to be really interesting to see how this game turns out. And as always, guys, leave your thoughts and your predictions in the comments down below. Tactically, how do you think this game is going to go? What is going to win and lose us this game? What areas have we got to target? Leave all your thoughts and all your comments down below. I will see you very, very soon indeed for the match preview of this game. It's getting close now. It's hotting up. I'll see you soon. But until then, as always, Vasca El Barça!